cut it any way you want to cut it. Race simply, ladies and gentlemen, in America is the fact that we don't look alike. And it's the dumbest thing in the world because there's one race and that's the human race. We have different ethnic backgrounds. We have different cultural experiences. We have different tastes and various things. But that's the difference, and the only thing we all have in common is our difference.
The question is, on the 25th of September, 1968, in Charlotte, North Carolina, celebrating 120 years of just a little old black paper that's trying to honor people who deserve to be honored, trying to raise a little money for some child who just needs a little push, a little help, a little encouragement. What can an humble soul say at such a time as this?
Just look around this room again. Take a look around this room. It's a room full of winners, folks. This is a room full of winners. What's different about this room and the people here? What makes you different from others who are not here and who are not winners? I'll tell you what's different. How did we, before I do that, let me ask you this. How did we make our dreams become real? How did we do it, Gerald? How did we make our dreams become real when others couldn't? I'll tell you why. It's because someone taught us that whatever our minds can conceive, our bodies can achieve.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Curry, the oldest son of the man being honored this evening, Del Curry. My mom and dad send you their most sincere apologies for not being here this evening to accept this award. However, it is an honor for me, as well as my brothers and sisters who are also here tonight, to stand before you as the Charlotte Post honors our dad as Professional Sports Person of the Year. Though my dad no longer plays basketball here in Charlotte for the Hornets, this town and this community remains as our home and will always be special to him. On behalf of my dad and all that he, Jeff Hood, and the Del Curry Foundation are doing and are planning to do for the youth of this community, I accept this award for him. Thank you.
Asking how you're going to do it. How you're going to do it is none of your business. How? I think that's what Scripture reminds us. Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. The way will come, the how will come. Whatever major goal that is, let us say together with power, feeling, and conviction, it's possible. Together, please.
I do not do this alone because God is with me every step of the way. And he walks with me, and he props me up when I stumble and picks me up when I fall. I have many people that do a lot of things for me, and it's only because of my friend, my family, and those around me that these things that I do can happen. So I thank you for honoring me, but the award really belongs to all of those that come together and help me to do the things that I do, including Gerald Johnson, who serves on our Community Building Initiative Task Force, looking at disparity in the court system, and Calvin Murphy, who I saw out here earlier, and many of you, Judge Ricky McCoy Mitchell, I thank you.
Board of First Tee Golf, a nonprofit program set up to introduce golf to disadvantaged kids. Ladies and gentlemen, the Charlotte Post Entrepreneur of the Year, Carrie Mitchell.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank my lovely wife, Vanessa, and also Gerald and Bob. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I have deep roots in black newspaper. My great uncle started the first black newspaper in Richmond, Virginia in 1886, John Mitchell.
And this work that this fine newspaper does is so important. Sometimes things have importance beyond your community that cannot be appreciated except by those who don't live in it. I live in St. Kitts now, in the Caribbean. And I know the value of a newspaper that provides a medium for the black community to talk to itself. This is a very dangerous time for America. This is a very dangerous time for the world. For we are now in a period of jingoism, where the winds of war are blowing so loudly that virtually no other subject matter can be discussed or heard.
A poor teacher, a non-caring and non-committed teacher can destroy somebody's educational life. And the consequences are the same. And so it is vitally important that we do things to pick and identify and train the best teachers we can.
But what we know about change in these times is that there are people who, when change is coming, stand tall. In fact, there are people who create change, people who invite the idea that they would put their hands down in the muck and mire of history and enjoy the idea of shaping what is to come.
I ain't never been no luminary before. But when I read and reread Mr. Johnson's letter, especially the criteria used in making your selections, I am overwhelmed. And I want to congratulate you on your 10th anniversary. Truly, for an extended period of time, you have done a tremendous job, especially for our young people in education. And over an extended period of time, I have tried my best to do my best to my students and to my peers, making sure that public access was a real access. Equity and inclusion is a personal commitment. And somehow along the way from Mount Moriah Primitive Baptist Church, of which I am a member, that my Christian duty was confirmed by others who said, you must help take care of the least of these. So little Robert communicated to my latest population of students that you must make yourself a committee of one. I don't have any control over anybody else but me. If I do what I ought to do, then I have done what you ought to do.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm speechless because I'm standing here with this woman who for almost 43 years now, I guess it's longer than that, maybe like 45 years or more, has been my heartstring. You want to say anything? She doesn't want to say anything. She's shocked that she's up here. Melvin, she's got to score to settle with you. Thank you. Thank you. Where's Gerald? Gerald is out. I promised Gerald that I'd hug him. Not because he gave me this award, or the foundation gave me this award, but because of what he's been doing. So I'm going to hug him.
What you've started here with the Charlotte Post is absolutely amazing. And I was really honored when Mr. Johnson called and asked if I would agree to be honored tonight. I was excited to do it because I saw that some people in Charlotte and Mecklenburg County were really calling on all of us to focus on things that really should matter and should make us all a better person and a better community.
And we got to get a lot of people who are committed to making a difference and making sure that our kids have a chance to succeed in this world. They're going to be the people who are going to be making a difference. I mean, guys like me with this gray hair, we're not going to be around forever. So we got to make sure that we're making a mark and we're giving the kids the best chance that they can have to succeed. So I'm asking all of you tonight to recommit yourself and rededicate yourself to making a difference for children in this community. And we'll have the great community that we often talk about if we make sure that our kids have the best chance of succeeding.
But I am standing here today because I had caring adults like you in my life. I had a mother, as Vanessa said, and I love Vanessa. Don't y'all mess with Vanessa. Y'all got to come through me. I love Vanessa. I had a mother who said, it's not where you live, it's how you live. And that with God, all things are possible. I had a mother and a caring adult who put a math book in one hand and a Bible in the other and told me I could be whatever I wanted to be. I had 4 educators, 4 people like you, Danny, who decided that this poor little girl from the Easter Hill housing projects in Richmond was going to go to college and do something with her life. So when people ask me, why do I do what I do, I just tell them it's simple. I'm mad. M-A-D. Make a difference.
I think it probably goes back to when I was a student at Johnson C. Smith many, many years ago. I had an instructor, his name was Dr. Steele, and one thing that he taught in his class was, what does the Lord require of these? To seek justice, love, mercy, and walk humbly with our God. And that kind of stuck with me. And so if from the time that I have been on this journey, if I have been able to inspire someone, I'm very happy.
I want to say something to people who are in years to come who may be approaching my age. Know when to leave it for young folks, but don't stop being busy. As long as you are able to get up and go and do something, get up and go do something. Because if you sit down in retirement, it'll kill you. But as long as you're active, you may be slower, but as long as you're active, things are better for you. And I'm gonna sit down with this one. There may be 1 or 2 or 3 politicians out here, active politicians. I've told some, but they have not heeded my word yet. Every time preachers started preaching about Jesus, they preached about him going into the marketplace. That's where the people are, in the marketplace. And I want to say to you young politicians, if you really want to know what's happening in your districts, go to the marketplace.
Especially for our children and young adults who habitually dream dreams of greatness. Thank you, Gerald and Bob Johnson and Charlotte Post Foundation for bringing us together where we can see such an engaging rainbow on the curves of this occasion to support top seniors in their educational ventures, and equally important, to address learning deficiencies among African American public school students with a focus on dropout rates.
The gap between the kids that we work with, I've been working with kids for 41 years. It's not the school, it's in the home and the community. Schools can't do everything. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna take my seat because I'm headed to Angola Monday. 95% of the kids over there are illiterate. Can't read, can't write. When I started this program along with Adelaide Hunt, some of you remember Adelaide Hunt, a wonderful lady. We wanted to give our kids an opportunity to bridge the gap. Just think about if every church in this community would take a school or take a community and work in it. A lot of people say, well, that's money. It's no money in it, but reward don't come on this side. Reward come on the other side. You can't expect to get rich doing the right thing always on this side. I have the president of my college here with me, Dr. Jimmy R. Jenkins, who's done more for Livingstone College in the last few years than we've had in some time. It's because he didn't go there and say, why can't we do this? He go there and dream things that never were and say, why not?
When it comes to the matter of rights, it's more than just a principle of our Constitution, although it is an important principle embedded in our Constitution. But unless we have full recognition of the rights of every group that has been denied rights, then we are denying a segment of the population the opportunity to participate fully in the population.
Thanks again to the Charlotte Post Foundation. On behalf of all the young African American boys and girls who have a tremendous amount of potential, but it just needs to be realized. Thank you for being intentional and helping uncover the best in our youth.
We've always cherished and appreciated education. And don't let people try to turn you in a different direction, because they come from kings and queens. How babies go to school and kindergarten, their eyes are like spotlights. They're so bright, they want to learn. And when they get to 4th grade, we start to label them. Okay? That's our fault, adults. We need to take that responsibility back and make sure that every one of our children get the very best education that they're entitled to.
I've always thought of myself as a guy that just goes to work every day. This came after Ice Age. It's rated several food plants in Mississippi. I mean, I've always been curious about a lot of things, and I'll use this as an example. I can think back to where I was a senior in high school. I was the only African American in my class in this Third World Studies course. And it was when apartheid was at its peak in the mid-1970s. We had not heard the name Nelson Mandela or Desmond Tutu. And it was one of those things, just by the numbers in the aggregate, you had a population of 20 million, 16 million blacks being controlled by 4 million whites. And back in 1974, I knew that I would be in South Africa one day. and I went twice and did a couple documentaries from there. 2 to 3 million people call the South African township of Soweto home, and it is here that... You know, for me, and the story I like to tell about coming to Charlotte, I remember a June 1983 article in Black Enterprise magazine, and it profiled the city. Harvey Gantt was in his first term as mayor. There were things happening at the airport. There was Sam Johnson, Lincoln Mercury, and I could kind of read about this town that was part of the New South. And I just kind of said to myself, it's like, gosh, that's where I want to be. And, you know, fast forward some 35 plus years later, and I'm still here. And the fact that I've been able to, you know, make it work in some form or fashion, I think in some regards, it's just been pretty amazing.
I want to challenge you. You know, as African Americans, we are people who spend a lot of money. You know, African Americans are considered the people who spend the most money in stores. That should not be that we're spending the most money in stores, but we're not donating to causes that help to sustain and grow our children. I think a goal of 15,000 is good, but I think a goal of 15,000 is much too low. When I look at the folks that are under the sound of my voice right now, I know that we can do much, much, much more than 15,000. So I challenge you tonight that you don't leave here. And I understand it. Your corporation may have bought this table and you got a chance to come and get a free dinner. I got that. I got that. But in coming to get this free dinner, you also went out and you bought something. You bought some clothes, you bought some shoes, you bought some makeup, you bought something. You may have even bought some hair. You know what I'm saying? Just saying, just saying. I want to challenge you that whatever you spent on what you got on tonight, that you leave it in this room for these children.
Ultimately, what it comes down to is saying, am I being true to what I know God is calling me to do, to be, to say? Because ultimately, He's the one, right, that I'm really trying to please. And if I'm pleasing Him, it will resonate with those whom He desires.
In 1975, Mr. Bill Johnson Sr., the father of the Johnson brothers, who had worked at the newspaper for 5 years, decided to get a loan from the city to purchase the paper outright. Mr. Johnson saw something that no one else saw at the time, and it goes back to this word opportunity. The opportunity that a newspaper like the Charlotte Post would provide in shaping and sharing the news of Charlotte's Black community, a forum for connection and education so that people could advance their careers and their lives.